The pregnancy test slipped from my trembling fingers, clattering against the bathroom sink. 2 pink lines. Bold. Undeniable. Mocking me. No, no, no. I whispered, gripping the counter until my knuckles turned white. This couldn't be happening. Not now. Not like this. My reflection stared back at me. Pale skin, wide eyes filled with panic, dark circles from sleepless nights. I looked exactly like someone whose entire life was about to implode. Because it was. 6 weeks ago, everything changed at that corporate gala. I'd been working as a server, trying to make rent while finishing my degree. The event was massive, crystal chandeliers, designer suits, alphas dripping with wealth and power. I was nobody, invisible, just another Omega serving champagne to people who'd never remember my face.
Until he noticed me.
Kong Jae-hun, CEO of Kong Industries. The kind of alpha who commanded attention simply by existing. When our eyes met across that crowded ballroom, something electric shot through me. His gaze was intense, predatory, like he could see straight through my server's uniform into my soul. I should have looked away, should have remembered my place. But I didn't. Later that night, he found me on the terrace where I'd escaped for air. "You're different from the others," he'd said, his voice deep and smooth like expensive whiskey. His scent, pine and rain and something uniquely alpha, made my Omega instinct sing. "I'm just a server," I'd replied, trying to sound unaffected.
No.
He stepped closer and my breath caught. "You're much more than that." One conversation led to another. One drink led to several. And then came my heat. Unexpected, overwhelming, hitting me like a tidal wave right there in his penthouse where he'd taken me to talk somewhere quieter. I remember fragments, his hands on my skin, his voice murmuring reassurances, the overwhelming need that consumed all rational thought. He'd been gentle despite his alpha nature, asking permission even as my heat pheromones drove him to the edge of control. The morning after, reality crashed down. I'd panicked, gathering my clothes while he slept, sneaking out like a thief. No note, no number, just gone. I'd convinced myself it was a one-time thing. A beautiful mistake. Heat suppressants had failed me before it happened. I'd move on, forget the way he'd held me, forget how safe I'd felt in his arms. But now, staring at that positive test, I knew I'd been lying to myself. I couldn't have this baby. My studio apartment barely fit a bed and desk. I worked 2 jobs and still struggled to eat some weeks. My family had disowned me years ago for being Omega. I had no support, no safety net, nothing.
And Jae-hun?
He was a billionaire alpha who probably entertained a different Omega every week.
He wouldn't remember me.
Or worse, he would remember, and he'd think I was trying to trap him, extort money, ruin his reputation.
No.
The decision was clear. I'd handle this quietly, alone, like I handled everything else. The clinic appointment was set for Friday afternoon.
3 days away.
I just had to hold myself together for 3 more days. I didn't expect to see him again. But fate, or whatever cruel force governed my life, had other plans. Tuesday evening, I was leaving my shift at the cafe when I felt it. That prickling awareness, the sensation of being watched. I glanced over my shoulder and froze. Jae-hun stood across the street, leaning against a sleek black car, his eyes locked on me with frightening intensity. He looked exactly as I remembered, sharp jawline, perfectly tailored suit, that commanding presence that made everyone else fade into background noise. Our eyes met and my Omega instinct screamed at me to run. But my feet wouldn't move. He crossed the street with predatory grace. "Miho." My name on his lips sent shivers down my spine. "We need to talk." "Hey, I have to go," I stammered, finally finding my voice. "You've been avoiding my calls. I never gave you my number." His smile was sharp. "I have resources. You disappeared without a word. Did you really think I wouldn't find you?" Panic clawed at my throat. "Look, that night was a mistake. Let's just forget it happened." Something dangerous flashed in his eyes. A mistake. He stepped closer, and I caught his scent again, that intoxicating pine and rain. Is that why you're pregnant with my child? The world tilted. My vision blurred at the edges. How? I had you followed. No apology in his tone. My security team noticed you visiting an Omega Health clinic. Then purchasing pregnancy tests. Then, he pulled out his phone, showing me a photo that made my blood run ice cold. It was a screenshot of my clinic appointment. For the abortion. This Friday. You're planning to terminate my child without even telling me? His voice was dangerously quiet now. It's my body, my choice. It's our child. He gripped my arm, not painfully, but firmly enough that I couldn't pull away. Get in the car, mijo. We're going to discuss this properly. I'm not going anywhere with you. Yes, he said, and there was something absolutely final in his voice. You are. What happened next felt like a nightmare unfolding in slow motion. He guided me toward the car, his grip gentle but unyielding. I tried to pull away, to scream, but his alpha command washed over me, making my Omega instincts freeze in submission. Don't make this harder than it needs to be, he murmured near my ear. I'm not letting you kill our baby. You'll stay with me until you understand that. The car door closed behind me with a heavy click. Child locked.
Trapped.
As we drove away from everything I knew, toward his isolated mansion in the hills, one terrible truth crystallized in my mind. Kang Jae-hun wasn't going to let me go. And my appointment on Friday? I'd never make it. I woke to unfamiliar silk sheets and panic flooding my veins. The room was enormous, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking misty mountains, minimalist furniture that probably cost more than I'd earn in a year, soft morning light filtering through gauzy curtains. Beautiful. Luxurious. A prison. I bolted upright, my hand instinctively going to my stomach. The baby. The appointment I'd miss. The life I'd lost control of in a single night. The door opened, and Jae-hun entered carrying a breakfast tray. He looked infuriatingly calm in casual clothes, black turtleneck, perfectly fitted pants. Like kidnapping someone was just another Tuesday for him. You're awake.
Good.
You need to eat. He set the tray on the bedside table. Let me go. My voice came out steadier than I felt. You can't just kidnap me. I prefer to call it protective custody. He sat on the edge of the bed, and I scrambled backward. And yes, mijo, I absolutely can. This house is 30 kilometers from the nearest town. No cell signal. My staff are loyal to me, not you. You're not leaving until we come to an understanding. An understanding? I laughed bitterly. You mean until I agree to be your baby-making prisoner? His jaw tightened. Until you stop trying to murder our child. The words hit like a slap. It's not murder, it's a medical procedure. It's our baby. He leaned forward, and his alpha scent intensified, making my Omega instincts war with my rational mind. You didn't even give me a chance to be part of this decision. You were just going to erase our child like it meant nothing. It's not about what it means, I shouted, surprised by my own fury. It's about survival. I can barely feed myself. How am I supposed to raise a child? I have no family, no money, no support. You're a billionaire alpha who probably has a different Omega in your bed every week. What was I supposed to do? Show up at your office with a positive pregnancy test and hope you'd care? Something flickered across his face. Hurt? Anger? You think so little of me? I don't know you, I whispered. One night doesn't mean anything. It meant everything to me. The raw honesty in his voice made my breath catch. Before I could respond, he stood abruptly.
Eat.
The doctor will be here this afternoon to examine you and the baby. Don't bother trying the doors or windows. They're all locked and alarmed. He left, and I was alone with my rage and confusion. The first 3 days were hell. I tested every door, every window, every possible escape route. All locked. I tried to reason with the staff, a stern housekeeper named Mrs. Choi and a silent chef who avoided eye contact. They treated me with polite detachment, following Jae-hun's orders without question. I screamed at him during dinner the second night, through a glass that shattered against the wall. You can't keep me here forever. Someone will notice I'm missing. Your landlord thinks you moved. Your cafe believes you quit. Your clinic received a cancellation. His voice was maddeningly calm. I've taken care of everything. You're insane. I'm desperate. For the first time, his composure cracked. Do you know what it's like to have everything except the one thing that matters? I'm 34 years old, mijo. I've built an empire, acquired everything money can buy. But I'm alone. No family. No one who sees me as anything more than a bank account or a status symbol. So, you decided to trap the first Omega who got pregnant?
No.
He stood, crossing to where I sat rigid on the couch. I decided to fight for the first person who made me feel something real. That night with you, you didn't care about my money or position. You looked at me like I was just a man. Do you have any idea how rare that is? My treacherous Omega heart softened slightly. I shoved the feeling down. That doesn't give you the right. I know. He ran a hand through his hair, looking suddenly exhausted. I know this is wrong. But the thought of you terminating our baby, of never seeing you again, I couldn't let it happen. Call me a monster, but I won't apologize for protecting my child. Our child, I corrected bitterly. You keep saying that, but you're making every decision alone. Then help me make them together. He knelt beside the couch, bringing us eye level.
Stay.
Not as a prisoner, but as my partner. Let me take care of you, support you. Let me prove I'm not the monster you think I am. I wanted to spit in his face, but something in his eyes, vulnerability, loneliness, desperate hope, made me hesitate. The shift happened slowly, against my will. By the end of the first week, the constant rage exhausted me. My pregnancy symptoms intensified, nausea that left me weak, fatigue that pinned me to bed for hours. And Jehun, he was always there. When morning sickness hit at 3 a.m., he held my hair back, rubbed soothing circles on my back, murmured soft reassurances in Korean. When I cried from frustration and hormone surges, he didn't try to fix it, just sat with me in the silence. Why are you doing this? I asked one night after he'd brought me ginger tea and crackers. Because you're carrying my child, he said simply. And because I care about you, mijo, more than I probably should after one night. You don't know me. Then let me learn. His hand hovered near mine, not quite touching. I know you're studying art history, that you take your coffee with too much sugar, that you hum when you think no one's listening, that you're terrified but trying to be brave. Tears burned my eyes. I'm not brave. I'm trapped. You're the bravest person I've ever met. His fingers finally brushed mine. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for taking your choice. But I can't, I won't, regret having you here. Against every rational thought, my hand turned, fingers interlacing with his. Maybe it was Stockholm Syndrome. Maybe it was pregnancy hormones. Or maybe, despite everything, some part of me was starting to believe him. That night, for the first time, I didn't cry myself to sleep. And that terrified me more than anything else. Week 3 brought an unexpected thaw. I woke one morning to find Jehun in the kitchen, flour dusting his expensive black shirt, cursing softly in Korean as he attempted to flip a pancake. It landed half on the pan, half on the stove. What are you doing? I asked, suppressing a smile. He turned, looking almost embarrassed. Mrs. Choi has the day off. I thought you mentioned craving pancakes yesterday. Something warm bloomed in my chest. You're a billionaire CEO who can't cook pancakes? I can negotiate multi-million-dollar deals. Pancakes, apparently, require different skills. He gestured helplessly at the disaster zone. Help me. I shouldn't have. Should have maintained my anger, my distance. But watching this powerful alpha fumble with breakfast because I'd mentioned a craving, I found myself beside him, guiding his hands. Smaller circles. Wait for the bubbles before flipping. Our fingers touched as I adjusted his grip on the spatula. His sharp intake of breath matched my own. Like this. He flipped one successfully, and his genuine smile of triumph did dangerous things to my heart. Perfect, I whispered, not entirely talking about pancakes. The walls I'd built began crumbling brick by brick. He started joining me for morning walks through the garden, a sprawling paradise of cherry blossoms and stone pathways. At 12 weeks pregnant, my body was changing. The slight swell of my stomach, the tenderness, the overwhelming emotions. "Tell me about your family," he asked one afternoon as we sat by the koi pond. "There's nothing to tell. They disowned me when I presented as Omega at 16. The old wound still ached. Said I was an embarrassment, that no son of theirs would be weak." His hand found mine, squeezing gently. "You're not weak, mijo. You're surviving despite everything they took from you. That's strength." "What about your family?" I deflected, uncomfortable with his tenderness. His expression darkened. "My parents died when I was 20. Car accident. My older brother, he committed suicide 2 years later. Couldn't handle the pressure of the company, the expectations." His voice cracked. "I found him. I breathed, seeing his pain laid bare. I built everything afterward. Worked myself to exhaustion, so I wouldn't have to feel the emptiness. But it never left." He turned to me, eyes glistening. "Until that night with you. For the first time in 8 years, I felt alive. Like maybe I could have something more than just business success and loneliness." Understanding crashed over me. This wasn't just about the baby. He was as broken as I was, searching for family, for connection, for someone to fill the void. "I'm sorry," I said softly, "for judging you without knowing. I'm sorry for taking your choice." His thumb traced circles on my palm. "Every day I'm sorry. But I can't regret having you here." The baby kicked for the first time that night. I was reading in the library when the flutter came, delicate, unmistakable. A tiny life asserting its existence. "Oh," I gasped, hand flying to my stomach. Jehun looked up from his laptop, instantly alert. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. The baby it kicked." Wonder filled my voice despite everything. He was beside me in seconds, kneeling before the chair. "Can I?" I nodded, guiding his large hand to where I'd felt the movement. We waited in breathless silence until, there, a small bump against our joined hands. The expression on Jehun's face shattered me. Pure awe, joy, tears spilling down his cheeks. "That's our baby," he whispered reverently. "Our child." And suddenly, it wasn't just the pregnancy or the situation. It was our baby.
Real.
Present. A tiny person we'd created together. "I'm terrified," I admitted, my own tears falling. "What if I'm a terrible parent? What if I can't do this?" "Then we'll figure out together." He pressed his forehead to mine, his alpha scent wrapping around us like a protective cocoon. "You're not alone anymore, mijo. I promise you're not alone." In that moment, something fundamental shifted between us. The nursery project started the next day. "I want you to design it," Jehun said over breakfast. "You're studying our history. You understand beauty, composition. Make it perfect." The room he showed me was a blank canvas, large, light-filled, adjacent to the master bedroom. "Are you sure?" "I've never." "I'm sure." His confidence in me felt like a gift. "Whatever you want. Any budget." I threw myself into the project. Soft sage greens and warm creams, hand-painted murals of gentle forest creatures, a rocking chair by the window for late-night feedings. Jehun helped me paint, laughing when I accidentally streaked green across his nose. "You look ridiculous," I giggled, wiping it away. "You look beautiful," he said seriously, stilling my hand. "Covered in paint, growing our child, bringing life to this house. You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." My breath caught. "Jehun, I'm falling in love with you." The confession hung between us. "I know it's complicated and messy and started all wrong, but I can't help it. You've become my entire world." I should have pulled away. Should have remembered this began with kidnapping and control. But staring into his eyes, feeling the baby move between us, surrounded by the nursery we'd created together. "I think I'm falling too," I whispered. "And it terrifies me." "Me too." He cupped my face gently. "Can I kiss you?" The fact that he asked, that after everything, he still sought my permission, undid me completely. Yes. His lips met mine, soft and tentative, like I was precious and breakable. The kiss deepened, and I felt myself melting into him, into this impossible situation that somehow felt right. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his hand over my stomach where our baby grew. Stay, he pleaded. Not as my prisoner, as my partner. My Omega. The person I want to build a family with. 3 months ago, I would have said no. Would have run the moment I had the chance. But 3 months ago, I didn't know Kang Jae-hun. Didn't know the gentle alpha behind the controlling exterior. Didn't know what it felt like to be truly cared for. I need time, I said honestly. I need to trust that this is real. That you'll respect my choices moving forward. Anything. He kissed my forehead. Whatever you need. That night, I moved from the guest room into his bedroom. Not because he demanded it, but because I chose it. And for the first time since that positive pregnancy test, I felt something unexpected. Hope. 28 weeks pregnant, and I finally felt like I could breathe. The mansion no longer felt like a prison. The locked doors had been opened weeks ago. Jae-hun's silent apology, his way of showing trust. I could leave whenever I wanted. But increasingly, I didn't want to. Coffee or tea? Jae-hun asked, kissing my temple as I waddled into the kitchen one April morning. Decaf tea. Your daughter is doing gymnastics on my bladder. His face lit up like it always did when I said, your daughter. We'd found out the gender last week, and he'd cried for 10 minutes straight, overwhelmed with joy. Our daughter, he corrected gently, hand settling on my swollen belly. Have you thought more about names? I like Hannah. It means one in Korean, right? Our one miracle. Hannah. He tested it, smiling. It's perfect. You're perfect. Life had settled into comfortable domesticity. Jae-hun worked from home most days, rarely leaving my side. We'd painted the nursery together, assembled furniture, argued playfully over whether the mobile should be animals or stars. I'd return to my online classes, Jae-hun insisting on paying my tuition. At night, we'd curl up together, his hands on my belly, talking to our daughter. But I should have known peace never lasted. The pain started during lunch. Sharp, sudden, radiating through my abdomen like lightning. I gasped, fork clattering against the plate. Miho. Jae-hun was beside me instantly. What's wrong? I don't. Another wave hit stronger. My vision blurred. Something's wrong. The baby.
Blood.
I looked down and saw red spreading across my clothes. No, no, no. I whimpered, terror drowning everything else. Not the baby.
Please not the baby.
Jae-hun moved with frightening efficiency. Phone out, calling his private doctor, scooping me into his arms. Stay with me, love. Keep breathing. Hannah's going to be fine. You're both going to be fine. But his hands trembled as he carried me to the car. The drive to the hospital was a nightmare blur. Jae-hun holding my hand, murmuring reassurances while fear rolled off him in waves. I felt Hannah moving frantic kicks like she was fighting too, and clung to that sign of life. I can't lose her, I sobbed. I can't lose our baby. You won't. His voice broke. I won't let anything happen to either of you. The emergency room exploded into action. Doctors, nurses, monitors beeping urgently. They wheeled me away, and I saw Jae-hun's devastated face disappearing behind doors. Placental abruption. I heard someone say, "We need to deliver now." It's too early, I gasped. She's only 28 weeks. We'll do everything we can, the doctor promised. But we need to get her out safely. The surgery was a haze of fear and prayers. I felt them cutting, heard urgent voices, smelled antiseptic and blood. Then, impossibly, miraculously, a cry. Thin and weak, but there. She's breathing, someone announced. Small but fighting. Can I see her? I begged through tears. They brought her close for just a second. A tiny thing, barely 3 pounds, red-faced and furious at the world. My daughter. Our miracle. Hello, Hannah. I whispered before they whisked her to the NICU. Then darkness claimed me. I woke to Jehun's hand in mine, his head resting on the hospital bed, asleep. He looked terrible, clothes rumpled, hair disheveled, eyes red and swollen, even in sleep. How long had I been out? Jehun, I croaked. He jolted awake, and relief crashed across his features. Miho, thank God. He kissed my knuckles repeatedly, tears streaming. You scared me. They said you lost a lot of blood, needed transfusions. I thought I'd lose you both. Hannah. My voice shook with fear. She's stable. In the NICU. She's so tiny, love, but she's a fighter. Like her father. He smiled through tears. The doctors say her chances are good. It'll be a long road, but she's going to make it. I want to see her.
Soon.
They're letting you recover first. But I took pictures. He pulled out his phone with trembling hands. There she was. My daughter. Our daughter. Impossibly small in an incubator, wires and tubes everywhere, but alive. Her tiny fist curled against her cheek, dark hair barely visible beneath a knit cap. She's beautiful, I sobbed. Like her father, Jehun whispered, kissing my forehead. Miho, when I thought I might lose you both, nothing else mattered. Not the company, not money, nothing. Just you two. You're my entire world. I love you, I said, finally speaking the truth I'd been too scared to voice. I love you so much it terrifies me. I love you too. His voice shook. And I need to tell you something. The doors have been unlocked for weeks, but I never officially gave you freedom. I never said you could leave. Make your own choices. He took a shuddering breath. You can go. Anytime. If you want to take Hannah and build a life without me, I'll support you financially, emotionally, however you need. I won't trap you ever again. Your happiness matters more than my desires. This broken alpha, offering me freedom even though it clearly destroyed him, loving me enough to let go. You idiot, I said wetly. I'm not going anywhere. Where else would I go? This is my family. You're my family. His sob of relief shattered something in both of us. He climbed carefully onto the hospital bed, holding me like I was precious and breakable. Marry me, he whispered against my hair. Not because of the baby or obligation. Because I want to spend every day making you happy. Because you've healed parts of me I thought were dead. Because I can't imagine life without you. Yes, I answered without hesitation. Yes, 1,000 times yes. 6 weeks later, we brought Hannah home. She'd gained weight, grown stronger, surpassed every expectation. Watching Jehun hold our daughter for the first time in the nursery we'd built together, tears streaming down his face, this powerful alpha completely undone by 3 pounds of baby, I knew we'd survived the impossible. 3 months after that, we married in the garden where I'd first started falling for him. Small ceremony, just us and a handful of friends. Hannah slept peacefully in her bassinet nearby, wearing a tiny dress that matched my suit. To new beginnings, Jehun toasted at dinner. To unexpected miracles, I countered. To family, we said together. That night, in our bedroom with Hannah sleeping in her crib beside us, Jehun pulled me close. Do you ever regret it? How we started? Every day, I admitted honestly. But I don't regret where we ended up. You gave me everything I was too scared to want: love, family, home. You gave me a reason to live, he whispered. Thank you for staying. For choosing us. I kissed him deeply, then smiled against his lips. Where else would I go? You're stuck with me forever now. Forever, he agreed. I like the sound of that. Through the window, moonlight painted our daughter silver. The miracle that brought us together. The love that saved us both. Our unexpected, impossible, perfect family.